Welcome into Factfinder Investigates. I'm Brandon Stitt. Wichita is one step closer to its goal of creating a hub to provide for people experiencing homelessness. This week, Wichita City Council approving 3 motions to move its multi-agency center forward, including the acquisition of the former Park Elementary. Factfinder reporter Sean Logging looks at the next steps to get a winter shelter ready.
The hope, the numbers growing, and it's time that the community get more engaged to try to curb the trend.
The goal, moving closer to reality.
Today is a big day, a day that we've all anxiously been waiting for.
The Wichita City Council approving the acquisition of the former Park Elementary building for $1 to create the multi-agency center to be a hub for housing and homelessness services.
It is, workforce development services, connecting people with who are food insecure, getting people connected to mainstream benefits, helping them get their Social Security or their SSI if they haven't.
Also greenlighted was $2.2 million of federal COVID funding. That will be used for phase 1 of renovations to get the winter shelter running by Thanksgiving. Council member Maggie Ballard has been working on this effort and says it will rely on public-private partnerships.
The city will provide the space, obviously, but we are not in the shelter business. That is not what we are the best at, but that is what we can bring to the table, and we are really going to be leaning on providers.
Dave Hodge of Union Rescue Mission was at Council Tuesday speaking in support of the MAC. He says while governance and funding of the MAC still need to be worked out, Union Rescue Mission is one of the providers that have been part of the conversation to get this off the ground.
Brings us all together in one place. We're in the community, but we're fragmented. It makes it hard for somebody without transportation and means to get to the various providers.
Work to get that hub in place will be part of phase 2, following once the winter shelter is running to create those office, medical, and even pet spaces. Phase 3 is a 75-unit apartment and non-congregate shelter building directly west of the school, which will be dependent if the city is awarded funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
And the city will put in a request to find an operator to run the shelter this winter. Before it can open, fire sprinklers need to be installed, along with controlled access system. Also, an 8-foot privacy wall will need to be installed on the north side. We've got an update on what killed nearly 70 horses at an Oklahoma ranch last week. A feed company with locations right here in Kansas saying its feed is to blame. Factfinder reporter Kel Chapman talked with a local expert about the toxic additive found in the feed and how dangerous it can be.
The president of Livestock Nutrition Center releasing a statement saying testing shows a shipment of horse feed to Butler & Sons Rodeo Company contained monensin, a feed additive used in cattle feed, but one that's toxic to horses. The statement goes on to say monensin most likely ended up in the horse feed because of a failed clean-out procedure and a sensor malfunction.
Dr. Spear says in the past he's seen horses ingest monensin and develop long-term heart problems.
Horses are extremely sensitive to this particular feed additive, and it interrupts the conduction pathways of their heart at a high enough dose, leading to an acute heart attack.
But Spear says for these horses to die so fast, the dosage must have been massive.
It would have to be very excessive, very excessive. I've seen it happen where horses were exposed, but not at this scale. They got access to the bag, developed a cardiomyopathy, but it was a 30 to 60 day time frame.
In Wichita, Kel Chapman, 12 News.
The Oklahoma Department of Agriculture is still waiting for lab results of the sample of the feed taken last week. More people than ever are reporting scams online. The FBI says it received more than 880,000 complaints last year alone. That's up 10% from 2022. One of the scams involves emails threatening blackmail. It can include your name, address, and even a street view image of where you live. Experts say they often include an urgent deadline, awkward wording, and generic language.
No matter how savvy you are, you're going to say, wait a minute, is this real? Is this me? And the good news is that 99.999% of the time it's not. If they had something on you, they would give you a screen grab of a shot from inside your house or some detail about yourself and your life that's not just publicly available.
Now, if you get a blackmail email, Ackerman says do not respond and do not pay scammers any money and report the email to your email provider as spam. According to the Federal Trade Commission, Americans lost $10 billion last year in scams and fraud. And those scams are getting more personal and sophisticated. Factfinder investigator Christine Lazar spoke with a man who thought he was making money, but lost tens of thousands instead.
At that point, all I'm seeing is all this money.
Robert Tainted thought he had found a pathway to retirement through trading cryptocurrency. A woman texted his cell phone out of the blue last spring and convinced him to give it a shot. He downloaded what he thought was a legitimate trading app.
I just kept listening and watching, and I was doing everything she told me, and the next thing I know, we've turned $9,000 into $102,000.
At this point, you're probably thinking, we know where this is going. And you're right. Tainted was scammed out of $85,000.
It's sickening. It's destroyed my life as far as finances and my retirement.
The scam is called pig butchering, where criminals fatten up a victim by making them think they're richer and richer so they can extract as much money as possible.
It's a very sophisticated process.
Kevin Goschalk is the CEO of Arcos Labs and a cybersecurity expert. He says scam groups create sophisticated manuals to trick people.
They have these books and guides that are really designed by different victim types. You know, if you're single, if you're a mother, if you're black, if you're white, where you live.
She consistently tried to get me to invest more.
Tainted received a lot of photos from his scammer. She even sent a driver's license when he grew skeptical. The address said she was in San Marino, California. But when we went to the door, the homeowner told us,
"You don't know who this woman is."
No.
He had no idea who was in the photo. And the DMV confirmed the license is a fake. And that crypto app Tainted downloaded, it also turned out to be a fake and was gone from the App Store as soon as he realized he had been scammed.
You know, a lot of people say it won't happen to me.
That's what I said.
Tainted has filed a police report and contacted the FBI, but he doubts he will ever get his money back. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.